And thank you to Sheldon Popliger, our guest this morning on Faces of Beth Tikvah on this warm day. Welcome, Sheldon.
Good morning, Rabbi Mandel, and I'm very happy to be able to chat with you again, especially since this may be the last occasion as you as our rabbi at Congregation Beth Tikvah.
Yes. Okay. Well, we know that we shall be in touch. I'll be in touch with you and Denise and Jackie, of course, with you and Denise. So the friendship will continue. But Sheldon, there is you and I have had some chats over the years that I've been here, and my view is that you are a tremendous Jewish education success story. And the reason I say that is because number one, you speak Hebrew very well. Number two, you can walk into any synagogue in the world and be and lead the services. Number three, you have a very, very beautiful voice and you're a wonderful chazan. Number four is you are you can say any haftorah without any notice. And my question to you is how did this success story happen?
Well, I guess basically this goes back to my parents. My parents decided for their three children, I have a sister and a younger brother, that we would be educated with a parochial school education. And as such, the three of us all went to Shar Zion Academy at the time, which is now Solomon Schechter. Uh, I
Interesting.
sort of took to it, to the religion and everything else. Religious studies were a big part of our conservative Hebrew education, and I was confused at the time because my family was always growing up attending the Chevra Kadisha synagogue just down the street, which was Orthodox affiliated, and Shar Zion was conservative or affiliated.
Right.
Education wise, the we learned as a to we had daily prayers as part of our curriculum, and at the same time part of our curriculum we were all taught the cantillations of the haftorah and even of the Torah reading. So in order to start my bar mitzvah lessons, I didn't learn the words or start the words of the my bar mitzvah portion until at least 2 or 3 months after just starting off with Pashta Munach.
Right. Right.
And then I was able to apply the Pashta Munach cantillation to whichever word I saw.
Interesting. So from a very young age, even when you were younger already, you were already learning how to read the Torah and how to lead the services. In other words, this, as you say, this was part of the curriculum at your school.
It also was, yeah, it was part of the school curriculum, but it also came from my familiar background is that my late paternal grandfather was the president of the old Beth David Synagogue on St. Joseph Boulevard in Montreal. My father was the president of the Chevra Kadisha B'nai Jacob Synagogue. My mother was the president of Sisterhood on at Chevra Kadisha. On the my maternal side, my grandfather was one of the founders and of Chevra Kadisha B'nai Jacob, and my uncle served as president there for many, many years, as well as my aunt was also the
Wow.
president.
Oh my goodness.
And I was involved in the founding of the junior congregation at congregation Chevra Kadisha back when I was 10 years old.
Amazing. So this is really a family affair of complete involvement, and I guess that helps that helps us understand because there have been some Shabbat mornings when you walked in and David Hirschon would hand you the chumash and say, "Here, you're doing the Haftorah today," and then there you were a half hour later doing it flawlessly.
Well, fortunately, I had good teachers.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, also interestingly enough, so being a part of growing up, you grew up in a family that was in the textile business, in the textile garment business, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about
Okay,
that.
I have to correct you that we were not in the typical schmutta industry of being textiles. We were in, I like to call myself in the ecology business. I am a textile ecologist, and we were dealing in recycling. Even 100 years ago, that textiles was a very recyclable item. The first stage of recycling always is that if I had a sweater and I gave it down to and passed on the sweater to my brother, then I initiated the first stage of recycling. So recycling is basically when the original user passes it on to someone else, you've instituted the role of recycling.
Yes, yes,
We also used to collect clippings. Now, if you recall, in olden days, or even current days, whatever it is, your mother may have had a simplicity pattern of way of doing some home sewing and stuff. She would lay out a pattern on the table. You would cut out the pattern, and small little clippings may fall on the floor. By lot, if those clippings were moved over a couple of centimeters, whatever it is, it could be into an expensive garment, or it could fall on the floor. And interestingly enough, these clippings we collected, and we were able to recycle them by turning them back into a fibrous form like wool off a sheep's back and starting the whole process all over again.
interesting, interesting. But was there a mill in the family?
Yeah, we started off with as a basically recycling, and then my father and uncle befriended some people who decided that we had step one and we had step two of the recycling business of converting those clippings back into fiber. And step three would be to create a spinning mill to convert them back into yarn. All this happened on our premises in Old Montreal on Queen Street and Prince Streets, where we had seven buildings in which we broke down walls and created passages to make one homologous building uh, in order to do this all. When I decided that I wanted to make business my career, uh, and the family industry was as good as any because I was the oldest. I was the oldest sibling, or the oldest grandchild, or were the oldest of the next generation. I It was easy for me to continue, and when I made my choice, my father and mother sent me to Leeds University in England to have a formal education in the conversion, manufacturing of yarn, and a lot more about the entire textile industry, which I would not have had under the sheltered thing of just of our own company.
Right, right. So you were expanding your horizons in the textile business and Leeds.
In Leeds, well, it was a formal education. I got a postgraduate diploma in textile industries. I learned all about a different part of college life because it's so typical in Montreal. I went to public school, high school, and I went to McGill University here in Montreal, got my bachelor's of commerce degree. And so I was leading a sheltered life quite a bit. And when I went to Leeds, I finally found out more about what college life is all about.
Right.
You Americans do it quite differently, that you all seem to go away to college, especially to your parents' alma maters.
Yes. Yes, and was there a Jewish community in Leeds?
Leeds has a very, very strong Jewish community, incidentally. And it's funny. Funny story is when I went to Leeds, I had one contact name who was a known business associate of my grandfather, my grandparents, and but I did not call them right away. But I arrived in Leeds in mid-August before Rosh Hashanah, and I registered with Hillel Foundation, whatever it is, and they sent me to a family uh, to participate in, so I would have some uh, Jewish family experience here. And Avsaluchas, the family I went to was this very family who my grandparents knew.
Wow. Amazing. Yes. Yes. And following that, you returned back to Canada, and of course, you've been here for several decades. And then you ended up in Dollard with, and you married Denise, and you ended up in Dollard.
Yeah, I ended up in Dollard because more it was affordable housing. It was a community which fit my personal needs because when I went to Shara Zion Academy, Merton School was directly across the street from me. I never went to that school. So my street friends were not necessarily my school friends. Denise and I made the decision that our kids were going to have a parochial education, researching Hebrew Foundation School and Congregation Beth Tikvah, crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's. So it was very easy for us to move out to Dollard.
Yes. Yes. Jumping back a moment. So back in the business world, you did do some traveling, I know, and you ended up visiting various places for business, including Tunisia.
Okay, well, that was a latter part of my career. My first part of my career, obviously, was in Montreal, being a manufacturer, and our factory closed down in 1990, 1989, 1990, due to some union problems and just for maybe it's just run its time. After that, I was in a few other industries, and then my friend Jack Cupford invited me to join his new startup company, and because they needed some type of help in administration and everything else, and I was available. And we found out that one of our associates, or two of our associates, were of Tunisian nationals, so that it was in order for me to get the feel of the industry. My first trip was to Tunisia to try to just see the land and see what the industry was, this new industry was all about.
Wow.
Needless to say, my first time going there, I was a little frightened. I took off the chai, but after the several other, after the next visit, I went chai and all, and
Wow.
even went to several synagogues. And I found out afterwards that Tunisia did have a very, very strong Jewish community, and I went to several synagogues there, including the one in the island of Jerba, which is considered the oldest synagogue in North Africa and is a subject to annual pilgrimages, and it is a protected heritage site by the government of Tunisia.
Wow. That's very interesting. I don't think, that does El Al fly there?
No, no, El Al does not fly there. Being an Arab country, I went via Air France or Royal Air Maroc.
And you did have a lot of customers in Tunisia?
We had a lot of customers in Tunisia, and we made it very clear to our Tunisian customers that they were dealing with a Jewish company.
Wow. Well, good for you. And how about other places? Did you go to the New York at all to travel for business at all?
Well, we had American customers. for the United States, we were dealing with some sweater mills in Brooklyn and in Manhattan. And as far as we were concerned, we were as local a supplier as our competitors in North Carolina, because we were overnight delivery to the
Right.
mills in Brooklyn.
Yes. At one time, New York had a very large textile industry. I don't think it's really not as vibrant as it was, but that's happened in Montreal too, I guess.
Well, the we can't compete with imports and cheaper labor. It's
Yeah.
it's very simple. And Canadians have a different mentality when it comes to thinking in terms of manufacturing. We believe in Canada that a week is normally 40 hours, and the Americans think a week is in terms of 120 to 144 hours.
Mm.
Uh, so they are far more efficient. And when my American customers were looking for some extra work to be done, instead of shipping it to Brooklyn to be converted, they suggested we could get it done in Montreal because they had the same machinery. I brought them to a few sweater mills here in Montreal, some contractors, and these contractors' mentality was mm, to replace their 40-hour week with this American business, instead of the American, the way we wanted to think is, no, I want you to continue your 40-hour business, and I want to buy hours 41 to 80 or
Mhm.
41 to 120, so that figure your costs on the thing. And they were willing to pay just the incremental cost to
Right.
produce manufacturing.
Right. So it's very interesting. You've really your business years. Now, as a family person, I guess you always realized that that your goal was, like you said, to raise your family in a way where they can be a part of the Jewish educational system, and that's one of the reasons why you and Denise chose Dollard. And I think that's a beautiful thing because the education was important to you, the Jewish education component over at the
This,
Hebrew Foundational School.
this was not negotiable.
Right.
This was not a negotiable issue. My kids were going to go to Hebrew Foundation School and then follow through to Herzliya to go all the way to the end of grade 11 uh, in their basic education. I stopped at grade 7, but I just found the Hebrew fascinating, and I just love to hear the language.
Yes. Well, you and I have a good time because we speak Hebrew together and we enjoy it very much. And I agree with you. As grandparents, you and Denise, bringing a new generation in. And I know that you've also had encountered some health challenges with that, and that has probably taken a toll on you and Denise.
Well, thank God, we have 5 wonderful grandchildren. One of our granddaughters has been deemed an exceptional child. She has a lot of genetic mutations and restrictions, but at the same time, she has shown us how to really be strong, that she has defeated and
Yes.
all the obstacles put in front of her. She had, despite being quite uh, sight um, sight impaired and physical challenges and everything else. And this year she missed probably half the year in school because of
Yes.
various surgical procedures. She's still graduating her this year with a better than 90% average.
Incredible. I think I might even see a picture of her in the Maya in the background there, in the back of your camera. I think I see some pictures of possibly of her. That's incredible what she's accomplished. The resiliency and the strength and the fortitude is incredible. Incredible.
Yeah, I have to give all the credit to, well, uh, Jana, just an
Yes.
incredible mother. She gets help from her sister when they're not fighting with each other, as siblings
Yeah, of
tend to
course.
do,
Yes.
especially when one sibling is getting more attention
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
the other. But Maya herself is just a
Yeah.
remarkable, remarkable individual.
You know, one of the first things that I noticed when I came to Beth Tikvah and synagogue was your strong, powerful voice. In addition to being very pleasant and very nice, it's also very strong. Did you ever think about becoming a cantor?
Interesting story. As I said, synagogue attendance was a grade in our elementary school education. We were marked on synagogue attendance and being able to participate. I At 10 years old, I was elected president of the junior congregation of the Chevra Kadisha. Uh, when I was also 10 or 11 years old, I was the only child in my class who was told not to attend choir practices because my voice was throwing them off.
Oh my.
So I took it as a personal stigma for the rest of my life, and as such, I will not ever join a choir.
Well, I don't know who gave you that advice. But you know, you sit towards the back of the in the synagogue, and I'm sitting up front. But your voice is clear and loud and very, very much in tune and always on key. So, and the haftorahs are always beautiful. So, well, you know, listen, you were busy in business. You probably didn't have time to go in to become a cantor. So you did great things. But we still enjoy it every time you lead the services. You know, you get up there and you start with Shochenad, or you do the Psuke de Zimra, or either one. But you know, you sound like a pro.
Thank you, and conceitedly, I enjoy it.
Well, I know that I'm sure that I'm not the only one who enjoys it, and I know Denise probably enjoys it as we all do. But I wanted to thank you anyway for all the support that you and Denise. I know that you've been connected for many decades to Beth Tikvah and have done a lot. The two of you have done a lot, and are always looking to see the synagogue maintain and grow, not just maintain its status, but to grow and develop. I know this is a high priority for the two of you, and I think we salute you. We salute you both for your community involvement, your community dedication, because it's, you know, those kind of people that really make a synagogue successful. So I just, as we prepare now to end this program, I thank you for taking the time. Today is a Quebec holiday, I guess.
Yes, and Jean Baptiste, and on this coming Friday happens to be my birthday,
Oh,
the
okay.
27th of June.
27th, 27th of June. Wonderful. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. So to you and Denise, we hope that we'll continue our friendship. I know Jackie and Denise have had wonderful times together, and Denise has been extremely helpful and supportive to Jackie, showing her the neighborhood and giving her a chance to explore Dollard and the greater Montreal Jewish community. So we're very, very grateful for that. And of course, I get to see you in the services, and you're always there to help us with our minions. So in the meantime, we want to wish you a happy birthday, a wonderful birthday, a wonderful holiday today. And we look forward to keeping in touch and continuing our wonderful friendship.
Okay, thank you to you too, Rabbi, and thank you for your two wonderful, glorious years of leadership at Congregation Beth Tikvah in Dollard des Ormeaux.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it's quite different, I must imagine, from Newport.
Yes, everything. Yes, 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 definitely. It's been very different, but very interesting and fulfilling. Hang on here a second, and don't go away. I'm just going to stop the recording. Please hang in there for 1 second, and thank you again. Best regards to Denise.